Well, our guest today is a real live gay pop star.
Hey.
No, I'm not talking about one of my G.I. Joes from the 90s, but Graham AKA OMG Classic is a successful blogger. He writes about wine with his sexy husband. We'll talk about that too. But he's also a pop star living in Toronto, but mentally in the 90s. Jeff says growing up as a queer kid in rural Ontario taught him how to cope with loneliness through expressing himself creatively, darling. And one time, he even turned his parents' basement into an art studio and charged tickets so he could save up and buy a karaoke machine. Cute! Right?
That's not just cute, that's really smart and innovative.
Well, you know why I did that? And this might seem really stupid, but I had no other way of like capturing songs that I loved. Like, I guess you could do it with a cassette recorder, but like when I saw something on Much Music, for example, on TV, I remember seeing the Spice Girls Wannabe video and I was like, this is amazing. I'm so obsessed. But I had no way of like going into the record store and being like, there was this video with like these girls running around, in an old, whatever it was, hotel. And like, can I get that CD? So I would record myself singing the songs on my karaoke machine. And that was my way of like remembering the lyrics. I'm like, it goes, if you want to be my lover. And
you were like your own Shazam.
I was Shazam before it was Shazam. OMG. Shazam.
Don't you wish that you would have came up with the Shazam idea too?
Oh, yeah.
There are so many apps. Like, Jesse, why didn't one of us come up with Grindr? We would be
I know. Here we are on gay.com.
MySpace.
ASL. Come on.
I know.
But I love, too, that you brought the karaoke machine to show them what song you wanted instead of a yak back, because I guess it was even before yak backs. You could have just...
It was before yak backs. You know what? I always wanted, remember the talk boy from Home Alone? When he was like,
yeah.
Mr. McAllister, the father. I really wanted one of those, but my mom wouldn't buy me one. I don't know. There were so many things I wanted as a kid, like an easy bake oven, but I got creepy crawlers.
And creepy crawlers were awesome too. Yeah. Don't hate on creepy crawlers.
Like they were cool, but
I think the reason that toys were so iconic in that era, from like the late 80s to the 90s into the 90s, was because there wasn't as many safety regulations and our parents just didn't give a shit. Like, we went outside and it was like, come back before the lights go dark. Go ahead, go to that stranger's house. It's okay.
Totally. And I think I remember so many stories of like easy bake ovens, like causing a fire. And I don't know if those are urban legends, but I wouldn't be surprised if not.
Just at Jenna's house, that's for sure.
What were you baking in that?
You're not here to talk about toys. You're here to talk about this iconic album. I'm calling it iconic. You just released it last week. It's called One Hit Wonder. I am not joking, Jeff, when I say, there it is. I have had that thing on repeat since Friday. It is officially my new Halloween weekend, because I'm always going to associate it now with Halloween, like Britney Spears.
Yes, gay Christmas.
Gay Christmas. That's right. This album reminds me of Aqua meets Electric Circus meets what else? Maybe a little Britney. Every gay club I've ever been to.
I think there's even a little Tiffany-esque in there, from that genre. A few songs like OMG, OMG Classic.
That's his name, OMG
Classic. No, but there was a song on the album.
Mega Mix.
Thank you. That reminded me a lot of that.
OMG
and
Mega Mix. Yeah. Oh. Thank you so much. First of all, those are all literally my favorite artists. I was born in 86, and I feel like, the 80s were the advent of MTV, like the whole video killed the radio star thing. Obviously, we didn't have MTV here in Canada at that time, but we did have Much Music and Electric Circus and all the 80s weekends. I remember watching the 80s music video weekends with my dad. I was 4, and I was obsessed with, Cyndi Lauper and Madonna and all those amazing pop stars. And have you seen that meme that's been going around? And it's like, my son can't be gay. He's obsessed with women. And then it's the women, and it's literally that was me as a kid. I was obsessed. And then, of course, going into the 90s, kind of took one of two directions. You either were into grunge, like Nirvana and Hole, or Aqua and Ace of Base, and later Britney Spears and all the teen pop idols of that time. And yeah, I was just obsessed. I was just obsessed with anything colorful and catchy and bright, and that's obviously what inspired the album. All the songs are inspired by that time in music, the late 80s and through the 90s and even the early 2000s. Actually, do you want me to talk a little bit about where it all started?
Well, we'll get into
that. And I was going to say though, but your timing is perfect, because if you just take a look around Sandy Hill, I'm in Ottawa, so Sandy Hill's where all the university students go to live in stuff. And if you look around, you see these like flashes of the 80s and 90s coming out with the pants and the fashion and bringing back the fluorescence. So I feel like there's a resurgence of that era coming back, and, you know, really being able to capture it and make it into 2020 is really smart marketing move right now.
For sure. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, I always feel like, I mean, I'm in my mid 30s now, so, but
nothing wrong with that. Speak
it
for
happens.
yourself.
It happens. You know?
I know, as I'm not quite as like finger on the pulse with like what's cool now anymore. I'm literally living in like 1998, but I always look at like Urban Outfitters, for example. I feel like that's such a what's the word I'm looking for? Urban Outfitters really captures like what the kids nowadays are wearing, and everything there is like tie-dye and like the oversized sweaters and like ripped jeans and, you know, all the old like 90s logos like Ralph Lauren and Tommy Hilfiger, and I think
Club Monaco I even saw the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh,
but
I had a sweater of that in every color.
Esprit, remember Esprit?
Of course, Esprit. I just heard Le Chateau's closing down. That's
Bad.
Canadian, you know, throwback.
You know?
I can't tell you how many pairs of flared jeans I bought at Le Chateau back in the day.
I'm waiting for boot cuts to come back. I like a little flare at
He
the bottom.
still wears his boot
I do,
cuts.
from next. But Jeff, this whole 90s resurgence is kind of a happy accident for you, because I feel like, and I followed you for a long time, you were going with this theme and this brand, whether or not they came back in style. So it's kind of perfect timing for you.
Yeah, for sure. It's always been my thing. And the name OMG Classic, like, honestly, it started from a catchphrase. It was something I would always say, like, as a kid, literally in the 90s. Something would happen. I'd be like, oh my God, classic. Or like, I don't know. It just was something I would say. And I got kind of stuck with the word classic. Everyone associated me with that. And so then that was where I picked my screen name. And then when I started making music, I'm like, Jeff Graham, that's the whitest name ever. I don't think that's really going to stick. So I'm like, let's just use my screen name. Like, it's weird. It catches people's attention. And so I did. And so that's where that came from.
And you don't need to be a band to have a band name anymore. Gaga changed that.
I know.
And also take a look at some of the names these days that you see, like Party Next Door, and like, do you know what I mean? You're not seeing these like one name artists anymore. It's always something different, something, you have to do everything to stand out.
Totally. So I guess when I started making music was back in 2012. I had a bucket list. I was 25 at the time, and I had a list of 20 things that I wanted to accomplish before I turned 30. So one of them was to write and record a song. And like 2012 was still the iTunes era. It was before, you know, Spotify and Apple Music and all the streaming stuff. So now everyone is making music, and that's the coolest thing about it. It's become so easy. Like, we have all the tools at our fingertips to do it. You know what I mean? We can really, like, you can meet producers online. You can take friggin' like singing lessons online. You can do anything. So back in the 90s, you know, that was just a pipe dream. I always wanted to have my own album as a kid. And I'm like, one day I want to be, you know, on Kids Incorporated or whatever. But, you know, you just couldn't. It was all about who you knew at that time. But nowadays anybody can make music. So I started 8 years ago, and that was a big dream. And it was kind of the first thing I wanted to check off the bucket list. So I wrote the song called Champagne that's actually on the album, because I love wine too.
Hey, we're all drinking. Show us your cup, by the
vodka,
way.
But it's vodka today.
Look at, speaking of the 80s, Sophia Petrillo.
So yeah, I have Sophia Petrillo. And funny story about these mugs, and I'll get back to the music in a sec, but I posted something on Instagram with, this is Blanche Devereaux, but everyone thought it was Donald Trump.
Oh my gosh!
They're like, oh my God, why are you drinking out of a Donald Trump tiki glass? I'm like, it's Blanche fucking Devereaux.
And where did you get those? They're Golden Girls tiki glasses in like tiki form and style.
They are amazing. My best friend Chris got them for me for my birthday. We have a tiki bar in our back garden, so I'm like obsessed with it. The whole tiki vibe. We have torches and everything. So as soon as these came in the mail, I about lost my mind. So
right. Oh yeah, I would too. Those are amazing.
But yeah. So back to the music thing. So yeah, 2012, I wrote that song Champagne, and
is it about your husband though? Because I know his screen name is something about champagne.
It is. That came after. And he's up in the bath right now.
Take us up. Say hello.
I know. We have a neon sign that says "Send nudes" above the bathtub. So maybe that would
you'd get some more downloads, I
to
think.
send some love our way. Yeah.
But before you move forward, you were talking about, trying to create music now. It's so much accessible. You have so many more resources, makes it easier. But also that increases the competition and it makes it very hard to get noticed and really break through the clutter. Like Justin Bieber, Shawn Mendes, they were very lucky with their timing. Now it's a lot harder. So do you find it really a lot more easier? Or is it just more accessible for you to make great content and great music?
Yeah, it's easier in the sense that there are so many people doing it. So connecting with producers and other people, like I write all my own songs. I don't produce the tracks, obviously, because I haven't learned how to do that, but I write them all myself. But yeah, meeting with producers and other stuff online is so much easier. As you said, there's a lot more competition and it's a lot harder to make money. Like even back in the iTunes day, you sold a song and you made, 75 cents off the 99 cents or whatever. Nowadays you make 0.003 cents for every stream. So like you get like 2,000 streams and you make like $4. So I know you guys are like, so
well, you've got at least $5 from me. How many times I played Teen Magazine? I'm not joking. I know every lyric already. I am ready to be in the music video, please.
That's one of the only ones on the album that I don't have a video for. So once COVID is over, it's happening. I'm getting
he even went and got cool sculpted the other day, so he's ready.
I saw that. Did that work?
Well, ask me in 3 months. It takes a long time for the fat to break down, but we'll see. Okay. Keep following me, everyone. I'll post a selfie. But anyways, yes. I love that song. And so what were you just saying, though? Sorry, I totally interrupted you.
So I was talking about where it started with Champagne. And so back in the day, that was 2012. I released that song on iTunes. And like, honestly, it did really well. Like, that's why I call this album my greatest hit. Because like, that was the only one that was kind of a hit. But anyway, that was before Spotify and everything. And I sold like 5,000 copies and I made, a few $1,000s. Which paid for the rest of the music that I made. And yeah, it was like top in the chart in Canada and everything. So that was cool. And
I think that is what I remember what I was going to say. That's what makes you stand out is your genre is very different from what you find out there. And it's risky because some people would maybe say it's cheesy or it's poppy or teen, but I like that kind of music and I don't find that anywhere. So that's why I'm obsessed with this album is because for people who like that stuff, there's not a lot out there. So that's what makes it different.
Haven't heard it in a very long time.
In about 20 years.
Right. And I was also kind of inspired like around that 2012, 2013 was like when Kesha was, kind of doing things. And that was like, I think Britney's Hold It Against Me, like was that Femme Fatale album was out. So like there was that kind of like resurgence of pop before things went, a different direction again. So it worked at that time for sure. But yeah, I've always been obsessed with that sound. And then I guess the first song, this is obviously not my full-time job. This is a hobby of mine and a passion that I've turned into a cool little side hustle. But that first song really ignited something in me that was like, wow, this is cool. I can do this. People are responding to it. And it's a great creative outlet. Like some people, write, some people paint. Like who's to say you can't make music, especially now, like I said, we have all the tools at our fingertips. So I went on to do a number of other songs over the last 8 years and like all kind of a little snapshot of my life. So I did, a song for our wedding, which was Masquerade because we had a Masquerade.
Hey, I got the track list here. I have questions because I've been listening. But you said something just a few minutes ago that I find really interesting is that you write your lyrics, but you don't write the music. And the thing about this album is every song is so catchy. And so it must be difficult for what?
Right. I was going to say, but what comes first, the music or the beat?
For me, I always start with an idea.
Sorry, I was just like, I just interrupted you.
No, it's all good. I always start with an idea. Or like a title. So I have a book of titles because I think for me, like titles are what really draw you to a song. It's like judging a book by its cover, right? Like if you have a cool song title, the chances of you or someone listening to it, I think are greater. So like there's a song called Don't Worry, Everything's Gonna Be Fucking Amazing, which is the latest song that I did, which obviously is about the current, situation in the world. So I always start with kind of like an idea or titles. And then I have a few friends that are producers now that I've met online and we work something out that kind of fits the energy of the song, and then I write from there. So,
so it's very much collaborative, very Mariah Carey of you.
Yeah,
Okay.
very Mariah Carey. Well, the one thing about Mariah Carey that inspired me the most is not her music. It's her obsession with lighting. I was actually going to set up downstairs in front of my bar because I felt like that would be very apropos for the Messy podcast. But the lighting down there was so homophobic. I'm like, this is not
Yes. There's a reason we record in front of a large bay window.
No, are you kidding me? We have lights and everything. We have a huge studio in front of us.
I'm in front of a window too. I was going to bust out the ring light, but then I'm like, use what, Mother Nature gave us.
Right.
Windows lighting is great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I find that great that you kind of collaborate, because I was thinking if you wrote all the lyrics and then gave it to one of these amazing producers and they came back with something like Teen Magazine, I'm like, that's pretty cool, but it's not that easy. You have to work together.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so I guess, so as I was kind of saying, I wrote all these songs over the course of the last 8 years, all different like vignettes of my life. And then over COVID, I was like really itching to do some more music. So I wrote Don't Worry, Everything's Gonna Be Fucking Amazing, which is the last song. And then I was like, I think I want to combine all of these into an album because they were all just like isolated moments over the past 8 years. Like there was a song about, obviously, the Champagne, which was the first one. There was a song called Partner in Crime, which I wrote for my husband. Actually, One Hit Wonders about Mike. Masquerade was about, so there's a lot about him. But yeah, so I wanted to combine them all into an album. And I have a few other songs too, but I just felt like this collection really worked. They were all kind of told stories of my life, and in a way that I thought was catchy and fun and made sense and something that I am proud of. So
Masquerade is about your wedding. I was going to ask you if it was about COVID, because there's a line or there's a lyric where he's like, come over here and take my mask off. I was like, Jeff, that's risky.
It's funny. I know that's taken on a whole new meaning now. But yeah, we met at Halloween. Mike and I are like, what Christmas is to Mariah Carey is what Halloween is to us. Like, we are insane for Halloween. We celebrate like half Halloween on April 30th because it's like 6 months to Halloween. So we decorate the house. We dress up in costumes.
Oh, I love that.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
And especially this year, because we were in quarantine, right? Like, we're like, let's just freaking decorate the house with Halloween decorations. And our neighbors walk by. They're like,
but you didn't stop there. They even got one of those purple smoke things. They did a whole photo shoot with the smoke coming out of the pumpkin, and they're all cute.
We did.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah, we take Halloween really seriously around here.
Well,
where's I going with this?
Yeah. I don't know. We could talk about Halloween all episode.
I know. I get
Masquerade.
Oh, right. So yeah, we met at Halloween, and then we had a Halloween themed wedding. So that was one of the songs that, a Masquerade themed wedding. So that was one of the songs that I wrote for that. Partner in Crime was the song that we had played during our like vow ceremony, I guess, which was really small. And then Masquerade was played at like the party, which was pretty epic.
Partner in Crime is kind of like the most emotional one. There's like, I don't know if you call it a hook, or I'm not a singer, but it's like, there's a part where it's really like melodic and makes you feel something.
Yeah.
Play like clips right now.
Yeah. It's like, so the part like, so I'll hold my hand up. I swear that I'm in love. I'll cross my heart with your touch. Was like obviously kind of like my vows, so I kind of put them into a song. So it's
easier when you don't have the music to go along with it.
It is, I know, if you can hear the song now, but yeah, maybe we can like dub it in later or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that one. I don't know. There's not a song that I don't like, honestly, on the album.
Me neither.
And I think that's what's most important is when you do create something like that, it's so personal. I know lots of like huge, massive stars that the one album that people didn't like of them even was the one that was the most personal. So at the end of the day, if you've created something you absolutely adore and that has represented everything that you wanted to, you've succeeded.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And again, like I did this for me, and the fact that, people are enjoying it is.
And obviously your husband too, you did it for him because a lot of the songs are about him.
And Milo, my cat Milo, of course. Everything's my owner, Milo.
Your owner. Yeah, right. You're right. Britney, you made me think of Blackout. I think of Blackout in this album because they came out on the same date. And I wondered if that was intentional too.
No, they did. That wasn't, but Blackout's probably my favorite pop album of all time. So,
and Britney,
you also heard that Jeff writes his own music, though, right?
That's okay. Minor detail.
She wrote what? My Baby, maybe, which is her probably worst song. No, Dear Diary.
And excuse me, she co-wrote "I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman." Let's not forget that one.
Right.
So Lynn Dion's ever written a song? We're not going down this path. Okay, Last Chance to Dance is really innocent and fun, but I really like that one too.
Yeah, thanks. That one I wrote about turning 30 because I remember like you know, you feel
gross. Now I don't like it as much.
And the feeling of dread when you turn 30.
Right, because everyone's like, oh, you're turning 30, as if it's like the end of the world. And I'm like, honestly, I was excited about it. And that's obviously a running theme through all my songs. Like there's one called Forever Young, which is about like embracing the spirit of being young and having fun and who gives a shit how old you are. So yeah, Last Chance to Dance I wrote about turning 30, and I'm like, I don't care, I'm 30, I'm still gonna go out and like get crazy. So we did a little like video for that one in Las Vegas, and I ended up like laying out on like Las Vegas Boulevard and like jumping from a tree and like almost jumping into the fountain at the Bellagio. Like we took that like turning 30 thing and having fun a little too seriously. But it was a lot of fun. So that's,
but then it turned into the best, probably one of the most memorable birthdays you've ever had, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. I remember turning 30 and being so scared that like, there goes my youth, it's all over. But it ended up being the best birthday ever.
Yeah. And we actually met Britney Spears that night in Vegas. FYI.
Was she just barefoot at a gas station, or did you pay?
No, I wish she was. It was after the show at the meet and greet situation.
Oh, she wasn't picking up Marlboros at the gas station.
Yeah, right. How was it? Was she like all zombie Britney, or was she cool?
Funny story. So my friend works in the music industry and was able to get us into the meet and greet, which was amazing. And there was a group of like super fans that were in front of us that were all like, I'm a super fan, don't get me wrong, but I'm not like in tears, like hyperventilating, like gonna die. You know what I mean? Cause like Britney's she's like a deer in headlights. She's pretty fragile. So I feel like if you approach her like that, she's gonna be like, So there was a group of people like that. And then there was us in the middle. And then there was like high rollers that probably spent like $50,000 at the casino that night. And they're like, okay, we're going to send you in to meet Britney. Here's your perks. So after all the like, sobbing and crazy fans went through, she actually took out her earplugs. And then we went up and she was like, hi, I'm Britney. So she was like not into the first group, but we got to say hello, and it was like super quick. Of course, her people are like very efficient, let's say. Yeah, but she was sweet. I don't think that was 4 years ago before this whole like craziness. So
she wasn't all there, right? You know, she was there, but kind of distant.
Yeah, for sure. It's sad, but I don't know.
It happens to burnout. So like, be careful if you get really, really massive, you will risk burnout. Look at Justin Bieber. I remember the last concert I saw him at, it was sad to watch him.
Yeah.
It was legit. You could feel his like loneliness and his like lack of want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. She did put on an amazing show, but after the fact, she was just kind of like, I think, okay, I want to go home to my kids. I don't think she loves the, spotlight in the way that maybe she did 20 years ago.
Right.
Well, they say you can't handle being famous before you're like 30 or 25 at least. And if you think about all these people that got huge, Justin, Michael, Britney, I mean, there seems to be some truth to that maybe. So you're at the right age.
Yeah. They also say that like the age you become famous is the age you stop maturing. So like Justin Bieber became famous at like 12 or something. So mentally you're like kind of a 12-year-old forever because you stop living in the real world. You know, everyone kind of caters to you and does everything that you need. So explains why he's a little bit of a brat.
Right.
Well, Jeff, if you start to get burnt out, just expand your circle, form a boy band, and I will be joining.
Okay, perfect.
Or we been like a gay, NSYNC? I don't know.
Well, there's been gays in boy bands, but not
full gay
boy band that I'm aware of.
Well, the three of us could just start a mixed gender group, S Club 7. Hello, we could be like, I don't know.
Well, Jenna could be an honorary gay man, like Kathy Griffin. It's fine.
All our names start with J, so like J Club 3.
Right? Exactly.
I'm sold. But seriously, I need to talk to you off air about the producer for Teen Magazine, because my goal in life is to have one song like Kim Zolciak from Real Housewives.
Don't be tardy for the party.
I don't want an album. I don't want to take your career. I just want one song I can perform drunk at parties.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a must.
Okay. All right. So, go ahead.
No.
Oh, I heard a big breath.
No, I'm just looking at you.
The reason, Jenna, I knew you'd get along with Jeff is because I want to talk about this blog, Sparkling Winos, huge, famous blog. With his sexy husband, they write about wine. I believe it has to be sparkling, though. That's like the caveat.
Yeah, that's kind of our focus. Again, another like funny little side hustle. Like we wear many hats, I guess, but that was something that also stemmed from my blog that like I said, that I started when I was 25. These 20 things I wanted to do before I was 30. One of them was to learn about wine because you'd go to a restaurant and they hand you like this Bible wine list. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. And I don't want to just be like Pinot Grigio, forever. So I was like, let me learn about wine. So I started studying it, and I did for, well, I've done it for like 5 or 6 years up to this point. But after 3 years, like as an adult learner, like at night school, and there's no better way to learn than to drink while you're doing it. It's literally the most fun. Like I didn't hate going to school. It was the first time in my life where I'm like, I can't wait to go to school. But yeah, so I learned about wine, and then we're like, all our friends were like, you guys should start a blog. You guys know so much about wine, and they're always asking us like what to buy and what to pair with what and whatever. And so we're like, okay, maybe we will, but we want to set ourselves apart and do something different. And we do call ourselves effervescent gentlemen. We might have a little bit of flair. So we're like, let's do a sparkling wine blog, because honestly, that's what we have always enjoyed. We've met each other 16 years ago now. And
which for anybody,
a long time ago.
That's like 40 years in gay world.
I know. I was 18, so yeah, Mike's a bit of a cradle robber, I guess, but it's fine. So
you enjoy it. He's not complaining. Yeah.
No. So we met, 18 years ago, and our thing was always sparkling wine. Like we would drink sparkling wine on like a Tuesday watching, RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't know. And all our friends were like, what are you celebrating? Like, that's weird. And this was, before the whole Prosecco thing, when people were really into, bubbles all the time. So that was what we got kind of known for. And so, yeah, when I started studying wine and when we started to do the blog, that's what our focus has always been. And we've kind of amassed a really cool and like loyal audience on that, that have kind of embraced that whole idea too, enjoying bubbles all the time. And yeah, what else can I say about it? I don't know.
I want to know, because we ask everyone that we've had on the podcast who has started something with their significant other. I always ask, what is it like working with your significant other?
It's interesting because we both have like 9-to-5 jobs that are vastly different, but they both contribute certain skills to what we do together with the blog. Like I do web design and stuff, and Mike is an urban planner, so he has a great understanding of like maps and geography, which is very important when it comes to the world of wine. So it's been a fun way for us to use our skills in a way that allows us to do something fun together and also exercise our creative muscles, because our 9-to-5 jobs can be 9-to-5 jobs. It's like can be a little bit redundant sometimes and not always like so colorful. So the blog is a really fun way to, do that. But I will say that I wouldn't say that it's gotten harder with COVID, because now we both work at home. So it's like there's no separation from our day jobs and our evening jobs and then the music thing. It's just all kind of like one big world of stuff.
I thought you were going to say, when you said Mike was an urban planner and he knows maps, he knows where all the wine stores are in the city, so you don't have to use your GPS.
We both know that. That's something that I'm very skilled at. Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations? Because we have a lot of listeners that do enjoy wine, and some that like enjoy it but just don't know anything about it. Jesse doesn't know anything about it. He buys the worst wine. I hate it.
But you still drink it, bitch.
I know. I'll drink it. However, do you have like a suggestion for a sparkling wine that is for like a very like a $20 or under? And then one if you just want to get a little bit fancier at the end of, a special occasion one.
For sure. There's so many. And the big misconception is that sparkling wine is going to be expensive. I don't know. It has this association with it that it's like luxe and, whatever, a special occasion thing, but it's really not. There's so many examples that you can get in the LCBO, or I guess in the SAQ, or worldwide in any wine store. Prosecco is mostly under 20. And with Prosecco, it's a very fruit forward, easygoing, lighter style of wine. If you want something that's a little richer and more complex, Cava, which is from Spain, is a great option.
Yes, I forgot about Cava.
Cava
Thank
kind of
you
has
for that reminder.
They kind of have like lost steam in recent years, but it's still great. There's a category called Cremant, like CREMANT, francophones out there. So that's sparkling wine from France that's not from Champagne. So Champagne's like a small geographic area. So these wines are from elsewhere in France that are made in the exact same way, often using different grape varieties than Champagne, but sometimes the same. And they're typically in and around $20. So those are great examples. And there's also a ton of, believe it or not, great wines made here in Ontario, in our backyard, whether it be in Prince Edward County, which is not far from you guys in Ottawa, or the Niagara Peninsula. So support local where you can, especially now. I mean, with COVID and everything, so many of the wineries are at risk, not to like get dark here for a moment.
No, it's true though.
At risk of, closing because they don't have the tourism that they once did. And, they rely a lot on, direct to consumer.
Yeah, a lot on tours.
Is Prosecco traditionally lower sugar too than most sparkling wines? All about that these days.
Actually, no. Prosecco is a little bit more sugar because it is fruit forward and more youthful. They have that little bit of sugar to help balance out the acidity and make it a little bit more approachable. But the thing about Prosecco is it's a little bit lower in alcohol, so it's not going to have as many calories as something like a bigger red wine or like an oaky Chardonnay. So if you're watching The Waistline and you don't want to do cool sculpting,
or you just can't afford it. I don't know anyone who's like, oh, I don't want to do it.
Right.
You can't afford it.
Right. Do you guys get into other wines that aren't traditionally sparkling? Like, every once in a while, some red wine brand will try to add bubbles and you're like, should I try it or not?
Yeah, we do. We try to keep it focused because that really is what sets us apart. And our whole thing is trying to straddle the line between making something fun and exciting and visually interesting, but also like sprinkling it with knowledge. So all of our posts, if you look at us up on Instagram, which is at Sparkling Winos, they're all really colorful and bright and like fun. But we do try to like teach everybody something. So they're great for like people that are just learning about wine or don't know anything and they just want to kind of like dip their toes in the water, but also for people that are really well versed in it, they'll definitely learn something new. So yeah, and we've traveled all over the world learning about wine. I should say, like we've been here, there, and everywhere over the last.
Little side hobby. You guys have almost 40,000 followers on Instagram. So
yeah,
obviously a successful endeavor.
Yeah, we've been very lucky. We've got sponsored to go all over the world. We were actually supposed to go to Georgia, like the country, which is the birthplace of wine, which I thought was really interesting.
That is so interesting because I had no idea. You always think of the birthplace of wine being like France, Spain, Italy, one of the old world, but
no,
I had no idea.
It was Georgia. But yeah, we didn't unfortunately get to go, but yeah, we've been to France, Italy, Germany, all those places like many times, and it's amazing. There's so much to learn. And again, tasting wine while you're learning is pretty much the best way to learn. So.
Amen to that. So is there one thing then, we mentioned COVID, a lot of people are starting new projects during this time, whether it's a podcast or a blog. What set yours apart to get to that level? Because not everybody who starts a blog about sparkling wine is going to achieve that level of success. So is there one thing you guys did?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, people always ask that question and I really don't know. I think that we were early adopters of Instagram on our own accounts or whatever. So, we had made a lot of connections that way. And so when I think when we started the blog, we had a great network of people to kind of, check it out. But I really think what helped push it to where it is now is, again, the fact that we had a lane and we stayed in it. Like it's a different point of view than most other wine blogs. And that we make it accessible to everybody and colorful and fun. Like it's not serious. We're not going to sit there and be like, like snobby.
Right.
My whole kind of like point of learning about wine was to demystify it and, take the snobbery out of it. So that's what we really wanted to do with this blog. And I think that, we have been successful at doing that. And I think that that's why people are responsive to it.
Before we let you go and maybe have a little glass or two of that sparkling wine, back to the music. I have two really fun questions that I like to always ask people, musicians is one, who would you love to collaborate with? Whether it be on the mic or off the mic, what is one artist or person in the music industry you'd love to collaborate with?
Okay, for sure, Rae Jepsen. Are you guys fans?
I'm a huge, okay, well now here we go. And I have a follow-up question to that question, but I love her music because it's sort of in that catchy, boppy sort of. So I'm a huge fan of her music. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but there's
meeting
a story.
her in person's another story. I'll just put it that way.
Because I met her twice and she was amazing. So we have to swap stories.
Well, let's do it right now.
No.
But this was in a like backstage setting where it was like, you know, the fans weren't seeing what was going on yet. So it was
the other one I had an incident was her meet and greets. You know Avril Lavigne's meet and greets?
Oh my God.
Hers were about comparable to that. It was not a meet nor a greet. It was walk up, stand a foot away from her. And this was like 7 years ago. So like Call Me Baby had just come out, but it wasn't the massive hit yet. It was on its way, and it was a music festival in a small North Bay, Ontario. Like, there's not thousands of people there, and it was just very not personable. And to me, it's like, you're not that level yet. Like, you know, like, you got to shake hands and kiss babies, and then once you get to the Madonna level, then you can just do the classic Avril Lavigne sort of photo shoot. So I hate that I have those two horrible impressions from her because everybody else says she's lovely.
Maybe it's you.
And she's this like awesome Canadian artist. Like, how can we not support her?
Totally. And that's why I love her first and foremost. And I would, when you say dream collaborator, obviously it's her because I think she has the same kind of pop, you know, sensibility and nostalgic kind of thing running through her music, which I love, which I feel like would make sense. But yeah, when we met her, she was so lovely. We went to see her in Pittsburgh, and I'll preface this by saying I hate Call Me Maybe. Like, I don't think of that as Carly Rae Jepsen. To me, it's like the Emotion album and onwards. Right. But yeah, we saw her in Pittsburgh for the Emotion tour, and we were like, hi. And we were like, oh, we came from Toronto. And she lost her mind that we drove all that way. And she was like, hang on a sec. She grabbed her phone, took a picture with us and posted it on her Instagram. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing ever. Like, this chick is so cool.
Maybe we just caught her on some really bad days. Like,
maybe.
You know, everyone's allowed to have their horrible Mariah day, you know?
Right. Oh, I love Mariah too.
Another question I like
I had a follow-up to that. So you meant that's collaborator. Who's your dream, like, diva? Like, every gay has one. This is one of my go-to questions with guys on Grindr, by the way. Who's your diva? Because you learn a lot about a person. So who's yours?
That's a great opening line on a Grindr conversation, honestly. And it's an easy way to, like...
Nice dick. Who's your diva?
It's an easy way to filter out the... Yeah, let's not get out of... First, the dick.
Nice dick. Okay, by the way, who's your diva?
Double D.
Easy way to filter out the ex-Tina fans.
Oh, yeah, totally. Mariah Carey is my ultimate.
Oh, really?
Yes, I just... Well, first, I've been a fan since I was, like, 5. And I read her autobiography the day it came out in a 11-hour sitting. Like, I just...
Oh, wow.
I stayed up till, like, 4 a.m. I'm like, I need to know what happens. I was, like, on the edge of my seat. It's, like, as if I'm watching, I don't know.
I'm reading it right now. I'm just finishing the chapter about her mom, and I had no idea that was such a crazy relationship.
Yeah, it's pretty dark, honestly. But I think what I love about Mariah most, I mean, yeah, the music, of course, is amazing, but I love her sense of humor. I love how she embraces that, like, over-the-top diva-dom. If you haven't seen her on Good Morning America, when she had, who was it? I can't remember the host at that time, but they went over to her house for Christmas drinks in the morning. It was like 7 a.m. She's wasted, like making cocktails, and there's like a random Santa Claus in the kitchen, like a live Santa just hanging around. There's like reindeers outside. Like, it was the most chaotic, insane thing, but I'm like, that's just so Mariah. That's why I love her.
With the big pink thing on, I remember it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Mariah, another one of Jenna's favorites.
I actually like Mariah more so these days. I like now that, like, when she was open about struggling with bipolar, like, that just kind of put everything into perception. And it also makes you realize that, like, you don't always, like, jump down people's throats for their behavior, because there could be something else going on that we just don't understand. And she is a bit of a reminder of that. And it's so easy to jump on that bandwagon of, like, hating her because she's so rude to other people. And that's my thing. At the end of the day, it doesn't come down about, like, what you do. Like, I don't care if you act like a diva, but when you're mean to people, I don't like that. And that's why I had those issues with both of them.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm a nice person, okay?
Fair enough, okay.
My other answer, though, to that would be Cher, which is like...
Whoa! Everybody. But that's just like the gay. She's like the queen vampire of our people. That's just a gift.
And also, not to brag, but we did also meet Cher in Vegas. Just saying. Which honestly was like basically meeting Jesus. I'm like, there's nobody else at that point that is like that amazing. And she smelled like a brand new car. I have to throw that in there. Like she,
What?
Interesting.
I'm like, she's.
Is it because she's so plastic that she smells so fresh and new?
I guess. I don't know. But like, I don't even know how old Cher is at this point. I feel like
75, I think.
Age is irrelevant with her.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have
Which
an age.
body part?
Yeah, which part are we talking?
I know. It's like Isabella Rossellini in Death Becomes Her. Like she could be, she took the potion for sure. But Cher was the nicest person ever and smelled really, really good. And had like a lot of makeup on, obviously, but like did not look old, which was so weird. And I'm like, remember when Believe came out and she had obviously so much work done and everyone was like, oh, Cher, all that plastic surgery. But it's like sunk in now where she has not aged in like 30 years. So.
Right. It's because they tightened her up so tight that by now it's actually kind of come down, Like, it's like if you've ever had braids done, like they do them so tight at first, but then you start to come down. It settles.
Whatever. She looks better than any 75-year-old I know.
I know.
And the final question to wrap this up is, what do you have? Do you have any piece of advice for anyone looking to maybe follow their dreams of getting into music?
Yeah, my piece of advice is just fucking go for it.
I thought he was gonna say just fuck off because I just put my album out.
There's enough competition. I don't need you in there too. No, just go for it. Like honestly, like I said, it was a dream and a bucket list thing, and then I did it, and it was so rewarding. And there's so many, like I said before, tools out there now to do it. So the only thing holding you back is yourself and your worry of like what other people are going to say about it, but that doesn't matter. Who cares? Like,
fuck everybody. That's what I like to say. Fuck everybody.
Oh, and one last thing, Jeff, you're one of the only Toronto gays I've ever talked to that says you love Ottawa. So can you please tell everybody why Ottawa is so cool?
Well, I just feel like I was there for the first time a couple of years ago, and I just, first of all, it's like the cleanest city ever. The people were so nice. The restaurants were amazing. I just had the most amazing time. There's not like one specific thing about it, but I really, really liked it. I don't know.
Oh, wow. I'm like quite impressed with that.
Yeah. And
I've been here for 6 years and I'm still not really sure I like it.
I was hoping to come back this year, but I'm saying
I think Ottawa is just one of those feel-good places that when you leave, you get a new appreciation for it. Like, oh, that was a cute little town.
It's also like a nostalgic thing too, because a lot of people went like on trips when they were in like high school to Parliament, and it's also, there's something homey about it for sure.
We're trying, but Jenna's moving to Toronto. You guys are there. I might not be far behind. We'll see.
Knock on wood.
Right.
Knock on wood. Once you hook me up with that teen magazine producer.
I know. Yeah, we got to get you with, I'll help you write it. Party for the Party 2020.
Seriously. Or just sell me Teen Magazine, because I love that song. That's my favorite song.
At first I was like, you want to be in it? You're too old,
I know.
Jesse.
That's the thing, is that here I'm doing my like aerobics workout in my basement, and it's like listening to Teen Magazine. Like, is this creepy that I'm listening to this and loving it so much? Put me in a Teen Magazine. But it's such a catchy song.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was like one of the newer ones. And honestly, it wasn't my favorite when I finished it. But then I grew to love it. So
I love it so much. It's just great. We're gonna go listen to it.
Right.
Thank you, Jeff. OMG Classic. Follow him on Instagram. OMG Classic.
Spotify too.
Spotify. Download this album if you want to know or care what I'm listening to during my 80s workouts. It's this album, One Hit Wonder. And also check out their blog, Sparkling Winos, on Instagram.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure talking to you.
Cheers.
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 Cheers, Sophia.
Cheers, Sophia.
Bye.
Bye, guys.